Okay. All
It
right.
is. I love my job. No, you really can't do a better job. I think the police might have something to say about that, but fire department is the best job in the world.
Isn't that something?
From the schedule to, as was mentioned earlier, the really deep gratification and fulfillment of being able to help, a mother who may have had something happen to her infant. She's a new-time mother. She calls us out because she's not sure. Being able to reassure her is tremendous. It's tremendous. Being able to put a blanket around someone when, we're fighting their fire, and being able to hold that fire down from, total loss to maybe one room. That's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. On a more personal level, probably the biggest challenge that I've faced since I've been a firefighter is not being taken seriously by the general public, because they look at you and instantly they judge you. Like, oh, you can't do this job. You're not a firefighter. Just that kind of mentality.
You're even in the equipment in the.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It's like 50 pound. What was it? 35 pound.
20, 23 and change. Yeah. Scott pack. But you get a lot of different comments. From the positive, hey, you go, girl. To people who are naysayers and they doubt, like, you can't do this job. That kind of thing. But you take it all in stride. All you can do is show up, do the best that you can do, and let your reputation speak for itself.
But it's so suppose there's a 18 or 19-year-old woman viewing the show. What would you tell her?
I'd probably find out where she lives and drag her down to Martinez School on 24th.
And her friends?
Yeah, absolutely. A career is not something that you do with your days. It's something that you do with your life. It's such a life-changing thing. It's such a life-changing event to go from, a 9 to 5 every day to an actual career move where there's room for advancement. You take your EMT certification, you can do so many things with that. Your fire certification, you can, branch off and do things with that as well. So there's unlimited room for expansion, for growth, for, pretty much anything you want to do.
Again, for this particular show, we deliberately and intentionally have not given the time for the certifications and all the criteria and the eligibility, because, again, we want people to come to the open house at Johnny Martinez School, and there's going to be banners on the street and flyers are available, and the City of New Haven website has that particulars. But we wanted this kind of show that people to really see the blood, sweat, and tears, and also the joy that kind of emanates from both particular services. Got any concluding remark? Sergeant Duff, that you may want to share?
Well, I would certainly encourage people to come out and at least give the police department consideration. It's an excellent occupation, full of challenges, potential for long-term growth. I find it very rewarding.
Great. Tremendous. We're joined by Lieutenant Stephanie Redding, and firefighter Erica Bogan has stayed with us. And thanks, Erica, for staying around and not being caused to leave the set by anything we may have said. But this has really been this hour has been very helpful for me to kind of hear the various stories and how folks have gotten involved and how they've kind of committed their lives. We haven't had a chance to talk too much about career paths, and we're using the term for this recruitment campaign, a career for life. But sometimes that sounds like just something Pollyanna. But as I talk to more people, and by virtue of this show, I've seen that people they've had mentors, they've had people in their family, they've had friends that have been on this path before, and they've found that it's worthwhile to them. You've been on the force for 20 years, I believe?
20 years.
Okay, so that was before I was born, but I won't.
I was very young.
You were very young. You were in there was a daycare center in.
She came on the cadet program.
The cadet program.
Out of high school.
No.
But
I was actually 23.
23. All right. Well, please don't tell. You don't look at the
That's okay.
over 30.
Okay.
But about career paths, it seems to me that you might have had some experience in that. But,
Well, I have.
Yeah.
I come from a family, public service, and when I was 22, I was curious. I don't know. I think that I just didn't know what it was all about because I didn't see women doing this type of job. I certainly didn't see women doing firefighting.
Yes.
And being that I had a large firefighting family, a lot of people asked me, well, why didn't you become a firefighter? And I just didn't even think that that was possible. But I looked into law enforcement. I actually went to Milford PD first, but my heart was set on New Haven, and as soon as they came calling, I came running. And I was 23 at the time, and thought that there'd be a lot of closed doors for me. And what I found was, for 20 years, doors keep opening. And so I've had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things, from undercover narcotic work, riding the horse, being a district manager, working for who was then Captain Ortiz as the head of patrol division. I seem to keep following him around the department. And now I am the head of family services, which investigates all matters of juvenile crime, domestic violence, sexual assault, missing persons. We run the PAL program.
The police athletically?
Yes, we do. So we are tasked with many things at family services, so we're very busy. And it's just a whole different world of policing that I've done. I've been there for 2.5 years. It's been a great opportunity. So for people who are interested in coming here, I think that these are paths that they may not know about, that may not be available to them.
Right, right. And moving from one assignment to the next, what's the process involved there?
Well, it's a little bit of both. Some of it's been promotional, some of it's been assignments, but they're varied. They're so different.
Yes.
They've been challenging. Each of them have been a little bit, I mean, really going from, riding a horse to running a district have been so different, opposite ends of the spectrum, but you're dealing with people. That's the bottom line. You're dealing with people who are citizens here in New Haven who need your help, that need your assistance. So the base of it is the same, but the jobs are very different.
Would you tell your son or daughter would you encourage them to join the force?
I have a son, he shows no interest, and probably because he has a mother and a father who do this job, he has no interest. We tempt him, but he's not biting, but he's definitely more of an arts type kid. But I would, and I have nieces and a lot of I coach cheerleading, so a lot of my cheerleaders, we have one that started today as an intern at the police department, one of my former cheerleaders. She's a student at UNH. So I'm always encouraging young women, particularly, to look this way. That I think even after 20 years of doing this, that I still think there's young women out there who don't think it's possible to be a firefighter or to be a police officer, or detective, or a forensic expert, or whatever.
Keep going.
I mean, there's just so many things. To be a lieutenant, to be an assistant chief, to be a chief.
That's right.
So
that's right.
There are. It's possible.
Because we want for the open house at the Johnny Martinez School again we're calling it Careers for Life deliberately, and you've just kind of illustrated how that can really be a meaningful career for life, for your life and for the community's life, on Saturday, June 24th at Johnny Martinez School, starting at 1 o'clock. What would you say to someone that's looking in, that's kind of not sure? We really haven't touched upon this, because again, if you're doing something for the first time, you just have an anxiety about doing something for the first time. And this show has helped to accomplish, I think, the fact that there's friends and colleagues and assistants available. But someone that's kind of on the fence or is just not sure about if they should make this plunge, because it's a commitment. I mean, let's not sweep that under the rug, the requirements, the training, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just curious, and Eric, I'm going to ask the same question of you as well. What would you say to someone that's...
Well, I think many people who are filling the applications out are anxious. I mean, you think you know what these careers are all about, but until you're actually doing it, you really don't know. You don't really know. So, I mean, I think a little anxiety is good, and if they're on the fence, that they really need to talk to officers, come to the open house, ask the questions, walk up to your local police officer or firefighter and ask them what it's been like, and take the positive and the negative. You're not going to always hear all the positive. There are negatives also, of course there are, in any career, but what I tell them is, there are negatives in every profession, but our negatives, we have an opportunity to make things positive, to help situations that are just incredibly difficult. So, if they're on the fence about it, look into it, ask questions, come to open houses, interview friends and family members who may be in the field.